Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything.
Space is disease and danger wrapped in darkness and silence. While originating in a different franchise, that quote from Bones in Star Trek perfectly encapsulates Dead Space, and nowhere else is that better shown than in the recent remake released this January. I've seen a lot of reviewers give their scores at the beginning of review videos lately, so, following suit, this game is legitimately a 10 out of 10. And while high praise usually isn't controversial, there are some folks who might take issue with not only my opinion of the game, but the majority of the internet's opinion apparently. Everywhere you look, people are singing this game's praises. However, purists may claim that either the original was better or that it didn't need to be remade in the first place. A good argument can be made that remakes are unnecessary, such as The Last of Us Part 1. And while I don't necessarily agree with that, I can respect that outlook. However, if you've been on the fence about this game or had your doubts about playing it, I'm here to tell you that it is an absolute masterpiece. Rebuilt from the ground up by Motive Studios, they've seriously created a work of art. The level of detail and care put into this game makes it the definitive way to play. Isaac's voice. The original game had a silent protagonist, something not uncommon in gaming. However, the remake uses Gunnar Wright, the voice actor from the sequels. It's extremely well done by someone who knows the character very well. Thankfully, there are no quips or one-off comments in between the times he's talking to his teammates via radio or video calls. It keeps the serious tone of the game while adding in some personality. Folks have always talked about how capable Isaac is, and here it shows, with him lending ideas and solutions to the problems that continuously arise aboard the Ishimura.
There'll be a manual release over at maintenance. I'll go. Keep trying to reach them.
Improved lighting and textures. While the original doesn't look bad at all, even today, it is definitely a product of its time. When I replayed it a few months ago on Game Pass, the textures are somewhat flat, and the lighting seems more static than I remembered. The new version does wonders for the textures, especially Isaac's suit, as well as the necromorphs themselves. Gone are the gray, washed-out colors you knew before, and replacing them is the kind of detail we've come to expect in 2023. Anyone who says this is just a fresh coat of paint is doing this game a disservice. Zero-G controls. Gone is the clunkiness of traversing Zero-G. Motive Studios improved on the originals, whereas before, you would jump from point A to point B. They've used the movement style you have in the later games, and it actually makes what was otherwise frustrating really enjoyable. The Ishimura's design. The game does away with the loading screens and makes the Ishimura more fluid to navigate. While you do have sections where you're waiting, like riding the tram, small touches like it stopping or losing power and hearing creatures around you still make it feel engaging. A friend asked me what I thought of the game overall, and honestly, I had trouble finding something I didn't like. If I absolutely had to name some things, they're tiny nitpicks. I don't like the pulse rifle still, as it feels like it's the most ineffective weapon. Since my last few reviews have been on PS5, I bought this for the Xbox and played it on my Series X to even things out a little, but in doing so gave up haptic feedback and adaptive triggers. While I didn't care for them so much in my last review of Evil West, I missed them here. If I had to pick again, I'd go PlayStation. Sprinting still feels weird. You push in L3, and you don't need to hold it down to keep running. It just doesn't line up right with the rest of the controls in my opinion. Again, you can see that I'm grasping at straws here. There isn't much you won't love about this game, regardless of how much you may have enjoyed the original. When you zoom out from the individual parts you might take issues with, and look at the game, or even the series as a whole, the changes made yield a better story and better gameplay. I think this game will continue to be talked about for the next decade, with the same level of respect and reverence it's had since its original release in 2008. When I played the original, something that stood out to me was the use of darkness as a means of masking technical shortcomings. If you've played Silent Hill, you know what I'm talking about, with the way the fog in that game helped ease transitions with shorter draw distances. The original Dead Space seemed to do that with dimly lit corridors and rooms aboard the Ishimura. However, the remake proves me wrong here. The darkness itself is part and parcel of the world of Isaac Clarke and his team, and it not only preserves but enhances the terror of turning every corner. For anyone who feels like we are overrun by remakes and remasters these days, you can rest easy. Just like a dessert you didn't know you wanted after an already filling meal, this game is arguably the best part of the Dead Space franchise. It builds on the original story, characters, graphics, and gameplay in every positive way possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.